What's going on, y'all? Shalon Winter here, and it is time for this trade recap. This is going to be for Tuesday, October the 7th. And I wanted to make this trade recap because there's some things that I've been trying to focus on, and you know me, I'm always trying to refine and I'm always trying to fine tune. And there's been a lot of times where sometimes I let the higher time frame PD arrays get in my way. And how many times, let me ask you this question. How many times, if you look here at my chart, have you seen where price is up, whatever, and you have a big, like 4 hour, maybe even a 1 hour fair value gap here, right? Yep. And it's coming down and you're like, ooh, I have a nice short setup here to go down. Like, it looks good, but man, I can't short it right into this higher time frame PD array. Like, I can't. Or let's say it's even a 15-minute one. Like, it's not even that high. But then you just see it go, whoop, and it just, like, keeps going. And you're like, oh, my God. So I've had that happen a lot of times. And, you know, I got to a point where I was like, all right, if I have these higher time frame, and you know, if you've watched my framework video, that's one of the main purposes that I'm looking for those levels, for those fair value gaps and stuff, as looking at them as levels, things that could be in my way, obstructions. And the thing is that I'm like, okay, I've told myself if I have a 4 hour gap here, some gap here, and it's like right there, it's in my way, I'm just not going to take a trade. The reality is it's kind of hard to do that, especially if you're on other time frames and it looks very solid. Like, you're going to go down, but you're like, man, it's just this one stupid PD array, this one fair value gap in my way. Like, man, like, and then you don't take it and you watch it go. And then the times you do take it, it rejects off it perfectly and you get a loss. How many times does that happen? I know it's happened to me. So what I wanted to do is figure out, is there a way that I can know when it's going to go through some, when it's not? I've been working on that a lot. Now, I don't know if I have it figured out, but it's been working so far. And one of the biggest things I'm doing lately is I'm really focusing on power of three, like a lot. Not only that, every single candle, right, has an open, low, high, close, if it's an upward candle, vice versa if it's down candle, right? I'm really taking that into context. So what I've been doing is every Monday, I'm trying to, and every day, but I'm trying to figure out the weekly profile. I'm trying to figure out what on the weekly chart could we do for this week. So I come here Monday, and on Monday, I immediately see, you can see I marked the weekly open. And I'm doing that on purpose now because I see that we have an open here. Yes, I see we have a little bitty wick right there. But on Monday, so here's typically what the weekly profile should look like. If you have an open on Monday, and on Monday it expands higher, usually you should have your high made on that Monday. So really what you're looking at would be Monday would be bullish, and the rest of the week you have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday should overall look like this, and Thursday, sometimes Friday, create the low, right? Create a low. And on Friday, at some point, it should come up. So Thursday, what usually happens is you go down and create your low. Friday will be a bullish day in this scenario, because then what you have is you have your open on the weekly, high, low somewhere, and then a close. So when I come here Monday, and this can be obviously vice versa on these days, if it's, you know, an open and then low, right? Open and then it goes low. So on Monday, the last 2 weeks, this has been really good, actually. I came here, I saw we have the open, and we were already up. We've already expanded up. So I was like, okay, cool. So we went up. So if we're going up on Monday, what should the daily chart do? On the daily chart, we should have an open and then a low, right? And then expansion up for a high and then a close. So that's why Monday, my daily chart, I was bullish. Because the weekly, we expanded up. So if Monday is going to be an up expansion, then the daily chart, if it's going to be an up candle, then we should have it open, low, expand higher, and then close. So today on Tuesday, I already know this. Monday worked out that way. So that's why Monday, I didn't think we were going to go below that weekly open. So now Tuesday, I come here and I'm like, all right, this should be the high. On Monday, we should have made our high if this is going to follow the weekly profile. So we have our high. So now if I'm expecting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to go down, then what should the daily chart do? Well, the daily chart should open, go high, right? Then come down, expand, make a low, and then close. That's what the daily chart should do. So I know that. So I go and I look. Now I still have this daily fair value gap here. So I go to the daily chart because this is the 4 hour. I mean the weekly. So I go to the daily chart. And immediately at the time, I can't show it here, but because it's already closed down. But at the time, if you look, and I wish I had, let me see. Actually, I might have the video. 1 second. Here's the video of my trade. Let me see if I have it where I have the daily. Yep, I have it. So hold on. Let me explain this and I'll bring this video over. 1 second. Because I can't show it since we already closed. But I mark out my daily high and low. Oops. I don't know what I did here. It went to something. 1 second. Sorry. Okay. So I mark out my daily high and low right here from my previous day high and low. Okay. So this would be Monday. And Monday, what did it do? Open. You had a little wick, right? Little wick and expanded higher than closed. So today, like I said, if I'm expecting down, we should have an open, high, low, and close. So what do we have? We have our open, and look what we did. High, expand down, low, and close. Man, if you put this together, this is powerful. You can take trades in the direction the trade should go. All right? So look, at the time that I came and sat down and looked, I saw we had an open, and we were already like up here, and we had already expanded above the previous day high. So since we had expanded up, we shouldn't make a high. That should be our high of the week right here. Because we did go up Monday, and now we went up, and this should be our high of the week, then we should come down. If the weekly candle is going to do the way it should do. Now, it could be an indecisive candle. It could, things can change every day. That's why I keep looking every day. But at the moment, that's how it should look. So let me bring this over real quick. Okay, here's the video of my trading session. Now, this is what it looked like when I sat down. So look at it. You can see, I'm already looking. We have an open. Yes, we had a wick down, but we have a long day. It can go up and down, right? We had a wick down. I'm not actually concerned about this wick. What I'm seeing is that we're already up here. So we already expanded higher, and we took this previous day high, and we're here. I'm thinking this is our high of the week right here, since the weekly opened and went high. And we have the rest of the week for it to come down. So now this is going exactly how I thought. So I'm like, all right. So the weekly I'm thinking is going to come down Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This, we had our open and high here. Now I think we should come down. Nothing's guaranteed, right? It's all probabilities. But now I'm like, all right, we're taking this high. We should come down. So because of that, this is where I go to my lower time frames now and see if there's something obvious in something that's really telling me that we should come down. All right, so from there, I go to my 4-hour chart, and let's see. Before this big, huge down close candle, we had I really honestly didn't have much on the 4-hour. We had this right here, which is the new week opening gap that we haven't hit. So I did have that as us potentially getting down there. And then, of course, we have this daily fair value gap. Okay. And we did have the previous day low. But as far as the 4-hour chart, yeah, we had this fair value gap. And we had this little one here. I wasn't concerned about these, or about these little ones. But I'm going to mark them here just so you can see. And then we made this higher high. And I mean, I really didn't have much on this 4-hour chart that I'm thinking, because right now on the weekly, I have it going down today. The daily, I have it going down. So I need to see if there's anything that can really shoot for. And basically, I don't have any reason for this to go higher right now. Just because of this right here, those two things, I don't have reason for it to go higher. It could, but I don't have reason. So now I go to the 1-hour. Same thing. There's not much. Let's turn this on. That way you can see 9 a.m. There we go. Because this is what I'm looking at. I'm like, okay, well, at this point, yeah, we have an inversion here. We rebalanced all this. We didn't really have any fair value gaps on the 1-hour that I was concerned about. So I'm like, all right, so we're sweeping previous day high. The daily, I think we're coming down. The weekly, I think we're coming down. Let's check at the 15-minute. See what time is this? 8:45. Let's go up a couple bars. 9:15. That's, or 9 o'clock. Let's go up one more bar. This is fine. So what I'm looking at here, as soon as I get here, what jumps out to me immediately is these relative equal lows. Because we made this high. We ran this high. So if you look, part of the 2024 model is you're looking for smoothness, right? I have smoothness here. You have this low here. But right here, I have smoothness right in this area. And then we have this run. This is what I'm looking at as a potential stop run here. Above the previous day high. Right? So what do people do? They short previous day high, put stops here. And so I'm looking at it like, okay, this is looking really clean right there. And it just so happens to be this was London low and Asia low. I don't care that it was London and Asia. What I care about is this. So now, basically, I want to look at, all right, this is really, really smooth and obvious for me. I see a bunch of, in this leg up, there's a bunch of fair value gaps. Like you have this fair value gap, you have this fair value gap, you have this one in here, this one up here, this one here. In my opinion, when I'm looking at that, because we have this smoothness down here, I'm looking at it as we're going to go up here and they're going to eat this up, make it jagged and come down, and basically rebalance all this. Rebalance all this and invert it. And what I'm looking for is basically after the market opens, 7 a.m., the pre-market, do we have anything to target after that? So if I drop down to the 5-minute, no, it just ran up, right? If I drop down to the 1-minute, from here, it just ran up, just like went up. So the only real thing I have is right here. Now let's take it another step further. From here, I measured this high, and I measured down here, not the wicks, but the bodies down here. I put this range on, 4 quadrants, but look at this midpoint right here, equilibrium. Look how it lines up right here with those relative equal lows and the middle of yesterday's range. Previous day mid right here. Look. Previous day mid right there. When things line up like that, to me, it's just too obvious. I'm like, we're going to get down there. Especially, like I said, we just ran previous day high. The weekly, I think we're coming down. The daily, I think we're coming down. If we're going to come down, I think we're going right here. Maybe lower. It could go lower. But for me, this is obvious. We're coming down here. And I don't care about anything in between. And that's where I want to aim for. Now, it could come all the way down and hit this new week opening gap. But I'm not expecting it today. And nor do I need a 200-point trade. Would I love it? Yes. But that's not what my expectation. All right. So now, and then we also had Monday's opening range gap down there too that it never closed. See? Right here. Was all the way down here, never closed. And then we got a new opening range gap this morning that we gapped up from. So I'm like, man, everything's just lining up for it to go down. Like, I think we're just going to run down. So I waited. Now let's go forward some. You got to wait because, hold on. Let me show you also. I had to mark my midnight opening price was right here. And 8:30 opening price right here. Because another thing is we're above both midnight opening price and we're above 8:30 opening price. And because if you remember, if we have the daily open and we make a high, then we should make our low and close. We're above midnight. We're above 8:30 opening. We have these relative equal lows. Everything else I already said. I'm just waiting to time it to get down here. So let me show you what I did there. And it was a little bit more clear on the 5-minute, but then I was really using the swing highs. The highs. To see when we had short-term highs, created an intermediate term high, another short-term high, to show me the market trying to shift bearish, and then I just waited for the displacement down. So if we advance a little bit here, we have this 5-minute gap, reached up and rebalanced. Okay, let me go to the 1 minute here. And also, what should we see? If we're expecting price to go down, we should see it go up first and then down. So now we fast forward. And I was watching this swing right here. I wanted to see if that remains there. Because right now this is our high, right? I want to see if this remains. Came down. Okay. And then, I was watching this swing right here. You see how we came down? It reached up for that previous day high one more time right here. And then closed down here. This is where I was waiting to see if we were going to get displacement down. We didn't. So I still waited. There was still nothing for me to do. But now I'm watching this swing, this swing, this swing. Okay. I want to see what we're doing here. Okay. Just waiting. Just waiting. Now, this run up right here was another stop run. People shorting previous day high, putting stops here. Right? Putting stops here. Putting stops here, shorting. They just got ran out right there. This was another stop run. Now I'm like, ooh, if we can create an intermediate term high right here, price should not take that. So basically, if we can come down, then create another short-term high and displace, that's it. It's game over. I'll put my stop right up here, and we're going to go down. That's what I was looking for, and that's how I was trying to forward think on this one. So we came down. Here we go. Here's our, like I just said, I was looking for an intermediate term high. Now we created our short-term high right here. That little short-term high. So now I'm like, we're not taking that. So I see this little fair value gap. We run down here. As soon as we pull up into here, I short it. And we shouldn't, if this is going to work, we shouldn't take that high. And as much as I don't want it to trade back into here, it's fine. Because as long as it doesn't take this high, we're going to go down. So let's fast forward it. And because there's one more important thing before I get to my trade that I want to see. See how it gets here? Now watch this. Right here is perfect. Short-term high. Intermediate term high. And we ran back up here and made another short-term high. This is perfect. This is a failure swing right here. We had this intermediate term highs where my stop was. Now we have a failure swing. Now we should see it go through this low. So technically I could have waited for it to do this, get down here, go through this low, and get in here to go down because there's plenty of room to go down. Could have done that. Or because I was reading these highs with these swing highs, intermediate term highs, short-term highs, I had full confidence in this entry, even though I took a lot of heat, that we would not get back above here. And I was waiting to see if we create a short-term high. And once we do that, we're going down. That's exactly what happened. Created that, went down. But that's why, but the main purpose of this was to show why I wasn't concerned with those higher time frame, the 15-minute in particular, fair value gaps, because to me, it came down to the alignment of the weekly, the daily, now the 15-minute, where I'm looking for my liquidity, which was here. It was smooth. We ran it up, became jagged, and attacking the smoothness right down here. To me, that's textbook. This is actually a lot of 2024 model. And what I realized, a lot of what I've actually accidentally combined a lot of the 2024 with the 2022 model. And now that I've been watching so much more of the 2024 model, and I've been studying that for the last, 6 months, I'm really realizing that is actually more of the model that I'm been trading. So I've been a little bit more focused on that. So now let me show you my trade here. And here's my trade. I'm going to speed it up, of course. I'm just going to let you see where I get in here. Well, there's my entry. So I'm just going to speed it up because it was kind of a long trade. So I hop in right in this fair value gap. And I'm trying not to put as many things on my chart. Like I'm trying not to put as many fair value gaps and levels and marks and stuff that I don't need to. So see, I wanted to target this minor sell side liquidity, but I was like, let me put it at this opening range gap low, because if you know me, I like to go for, 40, 50, 60 points at most. So anyways, so let's fast forward here. A couple volume imbalances. And I'm watching. It's pulling back. So I'm like, okay, I have my stop above this intermediate term high. I want to see a short-term high formed. So we go here. You can see I'm teaching my daughter how to trade. So I'm showing her, here's the W. Here's a W basically, right? A W. This should be a short-term high, get a failure swing, and it should go down. So now let me fast forward it. And at this point, shouldn't have much issue. Now, price action wasn't the best, so it did take its time. But once it finally started coming down, as you can see. Now remember what I said. Where I could have waited was for this failure swing with a short-term high to be created. And I could have waited for the displacement through here because it should displace through there, leaving a fair value gap somewhere, and then you could take that. And, that'd be probably an easier trade to stomach. Let's see. Let's fast forward, and there you go. Getting some displacement down. And I was really looking for a fair value gap to form in here. That way I could be like, all right, we're definitely not going to go back above that. And because of this, I'm looking at these candles here, these up candles. Once we have this closure down here, even if we get this fair value gap somewhere, we could reach back up into here, but I'm not expecting it to take these highs and trade higher than these up closed candles if it's going to continue down. So that's what I'm waiting to see it do. Creates that fair value gap. And you can see it kind of gets stuck here. And it's fine. I'm fine with it because my stop is in a beautiful location and I'm watching. We shouldn't go back above this area. So this candle, like, it didn't bother me at all. And you can see it's still closed inside the fair value gap. So that's what I mean by the price action wasn't the best. It was kind of ugly, but it still did what it was supposed to do anyways. Now we're coming down. Now we have the closure under here. Right under here. I went ahead and moved to break even because now we're hitting last week's high. At any point, it could kind of do anything it wanted to. But now I'm like, we shouldn't take this swing high. We can trade up into these up close candles, but we should not trade back above them if this is going to continue down. Now, it did pull back up on me a little bit here when it got close to this low down here. Got hung up on last week's high right there. Pulled back up. Now it's creating this swing in here. I'm looking at this as a potential order block, bearish order block, so I put that mark there because it went up into that gap, and I want to see if it displaces lower. So it got a little. There was a 15-minute fair value gap right here as well, so I did get hung up on it. But as you can see, it will eventually go through it. Created this short-term high. It shouldn't go back above this. Now, once we took this low here and we got closer to my profit, I was like, all right, I'm just going to take my profit. I'm going to trail it. It's going to go down. And if it gets like really close, I'm just going to close it because, yeah, you can see my live account right there. It's almost $1,000. Because also what can happen is you're looking here at these little equal lows and this little bit here. What I didn't want it to happen is for it to just pop through and then come back up and retrace all the way back up and then come back down. Because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be, 5 points away from my target and have to go all the way back through this retracement and then come all the way back down. I'm not doing that. It was close enough. Took my profit. Called it a day. So that's it there. I hope you got something out of it. It's a little bit more like I said, my main thing where I'm focusing a little bit more now is a little bit bigger picture. What's the weekly profile looking like? Does the daily align with it? And I'm talking about the open, high, low, close, power of 3 type stuff. Okay. And then on the 15-minute, I actually kind of don't even care about the 1 hour and 4 hours much. I still look at them. I still do, but not as much. The 15-minute, is there something obvious? And if not, then after 7 a.m. or even after the open, 9 a.m., basically like the 2024 model, on the 15, 5, or 1, does something get created that's obvious? And I'm looking for smoothness somewhere and then up to get jagged and come down to that smoothness. That's basically all I'm doing. It's been really, really good lately, and it's been letting me get aligned with what the market's trying to do overall. So from there, of course, just requires the patience and money management, but it goes on from there. So anyways, this is the trade recap for Tuesday. Hope this helps somebody. And as always, trade well, everybody. See you later.